Hello slashing friends, I'm very happy to give you my T100 build summoner on the Necromancer of Season 3 Diablo 4. You'll see that without any Uber unique or even a very good stuff, it's quite easy to do T100, and if it's not done already, don't forget to subscribe. Before I get in details, you need to fully understand how this build works. It's the idea of a lazy summoner, meaning that you don't have much things to do and basically your summons will kill everything. Also, I will only rely on the damage of my summonings with the skeletons and the golems and with the unique ring maiden, but otherwise you don't have any damage based on your character. So we'll be using skeletons, golem, decrepify in order to reduce our cooldown, blood mist to be unstoppable, unkillable, but also to reduce the cooldown because when you do a pack with corpse tendril, you need to curse them and use your blood mist in order to reduce the cooldown of blood mist, but also of your ultimate Army of the Dead. This one will be very good to boost the attack speed and the damage of our monsters and also to make them almost unkillable. It's important that you understand that in the Paragon we have this node, which is here, which will increase the damage of our minions based on the attack speed. That's why we'll scale on minions damage but also minions attack speed. The last thing that you need to pay attention in the gameplay is this buff, because if you take damage it will be removed and you lose 30% attack speed for your minions. So it's important to have it in mind, but you'll see in the gameplay that it's quite easy to always have this buff, at least for the majority of the fights. Now for the gear, keep in mind that my setup is far from being optimized, but on the builder you have every affix that you should be looking for. Also, if you have a Uber unique, you can use for example the Grandfather or the Shaco, but you'll see that even with this stuff it's quite easy to do T100 Nightmare Dungeons and start killing Uber Lilith. For the helm, you'll want this one in order to boost your damage, get some cooldown reduction and some life, and for the armor, increase damage, armor, damage reduction while fortified, or life. Also, you should get increased summoning damage instead of bone skill damage. You'll want increased number of skeletal warriors, and for the gloves, the fact that you'll get increased critical strike chance and critical strike damage. You'll want intelligence, critical strike chance, lucky hit chance, and lastly, if possible, dexterity. Don't forget that you have 30% which is transferred to your minions for the critical stats, so it's important to have them. For the pants, the fact that you'll have additional armor, life damage reduction, and intelligence if possible. Also, intelligence will increase the damage of your skeleton, so it's important to have it. For the boots, you'll want increased skeletals, movement speed, intelligence, and some resistances. Now for the weapon, you'll want intelligence, critical strike damage, and damage to shadow affected enemies, because we'll apply this shadow effect with the Seneschal and will help you to boost your overall damage. Then you'll want for the offhand the fact that you'll have intelligence, lucky hit chance, critical strike chance, and cooldown reduction. You'll also want the fact that Army of the Dead will boost your minions attack speed and reduce the damage that they take, and for this one you want increased damage based on the time that they are alive. If you want, you can also go for a two-handed weapon. Use this one for example. It will boost your damage, but you'll have to remove this ring. So the idea is that if you don't want to cast your skeletons, you can swap this ring, but if you want to get more damage, you can go for a legendary ring and put for example this aspect on your legendary ring and this one on your two-handed weapon. You'll also want Mendel in order to have this boost of damage, and finally for the amulet, intelligence, summoning skill damage, some cooldown, and if possible attack speed for your minions. You'll also want the fact that they'll gain attack speed when your minions attack. For the stats, I like a bit of resistances, but this is quite fine, and you need a bit more of critical strike chance here. Critical strike damage is okay, and then you have some damage with minion, damage with warrior, mages, golem, and a bit with summoning, which is this one, a bit low, but should be better if you have a better armor than mine. Otherwise, you'll have also a bit of more lives than you can get, because 15k is okay. If you have like 17, 80k, it's a bit better, and with that it's still quite easy to do T100, but you have some ways of improvement. For the Seneschal, you'll want the barrier, the fact that you have some cooldown reduction on the barrier, increased duration and damage reduction. You'll also want Tempest with Fortify to gain the damage reduction being Fortify, the vulnerable effect, and this one to enjoy affixes from enemies being damaged by shadow damage. For the skill tree, you just want to unlock this in order to put 3 points just here. You can put the remaining point here, and the fact that you'll create a corpse here, increase damage after using a corpse, increase damage to curse, to close, and to distant enemies, decrepify with the reduced cooldown, increase damage to your skeletal mage, you have here for the warrior and here for the mages, 1 point here, make enemies vulnerable, increase healing, and then you have all the passes for your summonings and your ultimate. The K passive, this one, which is important to have this boost of 30% because we'll have always more than 7 minions. For the Paragon, you'll get the damage of your golem, then you'll have the fact that you'll boost damage based on attack speed. You can take this one here too, and some damage for the mages just here, some damage for the minion, and here you have this glyph, Dead Razor, in order to boost the value of this node. That's why it's very good to put it here. Then you have this node which will increase life and damage for your golem, this one to boost your skeletal mage damage, and at the right of it, this one which will increase vulnerable damage. It's important to get also the 10% multiplication damage. You won't take this node, then we get this node here which will increase the skeletal warrior damage, this node to boost your damage, and finally this glyph increase critical strike damage. It is this node that we won't take. Now for the gameplay, you'll want to use your ultimate when you see a pack of elites, and otherwise corpse tendril will pack your enemies. You just want to use Decrepify and your Blood Mist in order to reduce your cooldown, and you'll see that overall it's quite easy to do. You could thought that since we don't have any AoE, it will be longer to kill big packs, but since you'll have more chance to have a lucky hit, since you have more enemies, the Meldon will do the job and you'll see that it's easy to kill. The only boring thing is when you have a champion and your minion don't attack it, but otherwise it's quite simple. I also put you the gameplay of Uber Lilith. I still lack a bit of DPS, but if you do the changes that I showed you on the gear part, it will be much more easy to deal with her. Thanks for watching this video. I hope that you like this full summoning Necromancer, and as usual, if you have any questions, feel free to post in the comments. I'll be happy to answer you.